Hello and welcome to Earth Echoes with Amber Fields. This morning I would like to read a piece that really touches me in a powerful way. And this writing is titled The War Against the Sacred Masculine, the Sacred Feminine, and the Soul of Humanity by Jason Gray. There's a sickness at the heart of the modern world. A lie so carefully woven, so sweetly poisoned, that millions drink it daily and call it liberation. It parades under banners of progress, equality, freedom, and empowerment. It sells itself as compassion, justice, and moral evolution. Its true purpose is darker. It seeks not to liberate humanity, but to disarm it, sterilize it, and reshape it into a hollow, obedient echo of what it was meant to be. The lie demands that men reject their masculinity, that women reject their femininity, and that together they forget the ancient music that once made life beautiful, purposeful, and powerful. This is not progress. It is annihilation. The first great lie. Men must become feminists. The modern world preaches that masculinity is dangerous, that only the good man, that the only good man is one who disowns his instincts, shames his nature, and pledges allegiance to an ideology that sees him as a permanent threat. It whispers to boys from birth, your strength is toxic, your drive is oppressive, your instincts must be surgically removed if you wish to be allowed a place in the new order. Generation by generation, the lion is tamed, neutered, and put on display, no longer a king of the wild, but a pet for the sterile circus of modernity. The truth? Real masculinity is not a threat to women. It is their greatest protector. A strong man does not abuse women. He shields them from those who would. A strong man does not compete with women. He provides the structure within which feminine energy can flourish. The architects of decay understood that if you destroy masculinity, you destroy the shield. If you destroy the shield, you can plunder everything. Thus, the endless attacks mock the father figure, pathologize male confidence, criminalize leadership, reward submission and weakness, unite the male until the male spirit is so fragmented and ashamed that it cannot even defend itself, let alone anyone else. The second great lie, women must become men. Feminism, the modern strain, not its original plea for basic respect, sold women another poisonous myth, that to be powerful they must abandon what makes them women, that nurturing is slavery, that motherhood is oppression, that beauty is a trap, that softness is weakness, that to be free, a woman must become a man, competing, conquering, climbing, always restless, always dissatisfied. What was sacred, the mystery, the grace, the intuitive power that no man could replicate, was dragged in the dirt, mocked as primitive, regressive, outdated. The lie replaced reverence for the feminine with resentment. It taught women that their gift was a burden, their intuition a liability, their wombs a curse. In the end, it left women more exhausted, more anxious, and more spiritually barren than ever before. Celebrated by society, yet aching with a hollowness they could not name. The truth, true feminine power, has never needed to imitate masculinity to be great. It is a power of a different kind, a power that moves oceans without raising a sword, that births civilizations without firing a shot, that can turn a man into a king without ever speaking a word. When men and women forget their sacred roles, the world collapses into confusion. When they remember, it rises into glory. The root strategy: invert, confuse, sterilize. Why was this war launched? Because polarity is strength. Because when masculine and feminine energies are in union, they generate life. Not just biological life, but cultural life, spiritual life, heroic life. Strong, vital people cannot be ruled easily. They do not bow to false gods. They do not trade freedom for safety. They do not accept technocratic enslavement disguised as progress. They live fiercely. They protect fiercely. They love fiercely. They build. Thus, the need to destroy them from within. The strategy was simple. Confuse men about what it means to be men. Confuse women about what it means to be women. Turn them against each other. Reward sterility and shame fertility. Glorify isolation and mock family. Normalize mutilation of the body in the name of identity. Celebrate confusion over clarity. At every step, call it liberation. Thus, the masculine and feminine were torn from their sacred dance, thrown into a sterile battlefield, and told to fight over meaningless scraps while their souls were quietly harvested. The modern symptoms of the lie. The world you see today is not accidental. It is the predictable result of spiritual sabotage. Men afraid to be strong, living as passive spectators. Women burdened with masculine expectations, crushed under silent despair. Children growing up without fathers, without guidance, without identity. Nations populated by rootless, placeless, historyless individuals who can be manipulated at will. Mental illness skyrockets, addiction explodes, birth rates collapse, loneliness reaches epidemic proportions. The slogans still pour forth: progress, empowerment, freedom. All while the spirit of humanity dies a slow, quiet death, not by force, but by consent. The eternal truth. Sacred polarity is life. The masculine and feminine were never meant to be enemies. They are the twin engines of life itself. When a man remembers who he is, his strength, his purpose, his duty, he does not oppress women. He protects them. When a woman remembers who she is, her beauty, her mystery, her nurturing fire, she does not compete with men. She inspires them. Together they create civilizations worth living in. Together they carve new worlds from the chaos. Together they weave the next generation of souls into existence. True empowerment is not found in sameness. It is found in honoring difference, in celebrating the magnetic dance between fire and water, sun and moon, seed and soil. It is found in union, not mimicry. The path forward. Remembrance and restoration. The future will not belong to the confused, the hollow, the programmed. It will belong to those who remember that men are born to lead, protect, and build. That women are born to nurture, inspire, and magnify life. That these truths are not cages, they are wings. The restoration of the world begins with the restoration of polarity. Not through force, not through resentment, but through sacred remembrance. The man who walks tall without apology. The woman who shines with radiant grace. The families who raise children with honor and purpose. The communities that rebuild on truth, not ideology. This is how the world heals, not through new slogans, not through more policies, but through the reawakening of the ancient codes written into the human soul. Final word. The lies of modernity will fall. The false idols will crumble. The hollow empires of confusion will choke on their own emptiness. The sacred masculine and sacred feminine are not political constructs. They are not social theories. They are cosmic realities. They are eternal. They are rising again. Nothing can stop them. Remember who you are. Rise without fear. Reclaim your crown. The age of kings and queens returns. Jason Gray. That writing really hits home for me because growing up as a child of the 80s and 90s and being a young adult in the 2000s, I feel like the world progressively pushed me to be more strong and more masculine than in the past. And I grew up with two older brothers, and so that influence was emphasized even more. And I remember them telling me when I was little that men are better and men are more powerful because God is a man. And that was really the first separation that was driven between me and religion, because I felt less than. If God was a man, then where did that leave me? And I remember when I wanted to stop wearing dresses and skirts and wear pants instead, baggy clothes, and because there was something wrong, it felt, with being feminine and being a pretty girl. It was either mocked or it was weak. And I was a tomboy as a kid because of my two older brothers, and I was raised off the grid in a hunting family, and so there's a lot of strength needed for that, and I was encouraged to be strong, which I really appreciate because I do enjoy being a strong woman. But it makes me think that when I reached young adulthood, when I was a teenager, I wonder what would have happened to me if I'd been living in these times, because I was a tomboy and uncomfortable with my femininity, and I really wonder if I would have been pushed to consider if I were a man, or if I wanted to be a man instead of a woman. And I'm someone that used to be very vulnerable to social pressures, and so it just makes me so sad for girls today that are in that same position and feeling less than, and feeling like, well, maybe I'd be more powerful if I were a boy. So some important things for all of us to think about, especially if you're a parent. I encourage my little girl to be strong yet feminine, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So Anyways, I hope that this touches you and makes you think more, and I hope you have a beautiful day.